All right, and we are live. What is going on, my specialist? SPC here, and welcome to the newest edition of Tier Ranking Tuesday. And guys, today we are going to be ranking all of the, well, at least on here, this list I have, the villains of Star Wars. So pretty excited to do this one. After looking at this list, I'm just going to be totally honest with you guys. There are a handful of villains on here I do not know, or at least remember. So, yeah. We got Brandon here. Let's go. What's going on, man? How are you doing today? All right. So, I think we are set to go here. So, I suppose let's just get right on into this. So, I didn't count. I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So we have, oh my lord, we have like 67 villains to rank. So, not going to waste no more time. Let's just get right on into it. So, kicking things off, we have got Asajj Ventress. And if you guys remember where I put her when I did the 50 characters all ranked and stuff, I'm putting her in memorable enough. I don't think she's the most fantastic villain of Star Wars. I don't think she's really all that great to begin with anyway. I think she's an okay character. I liked her more in the Clone Wars micro series more than I liked her in the actual Clone Wars. She just reminds me a lot of Grievous, where she like runs off a lot and stuff, just fails. Oh, I can't remember what her name is. I have her pop though. It's buried. I think it's like Aura Singh or something. I think it is. I'll be honest. Obviously, if I don't really even remember her, I'm just gonna put her in forgettable. Not much to say. I don't remember her at all. Pretty good, man. Ready to see these rankings? Well, I guess we'll see what you think about it. And then, is she really a villain? Not really sure. If you're talking about Asajj, I don't really know. She's maybe more like that in between kind of thing. Okay. Up next we have Darth Bane. I'll be honest. I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know anything about him in Legends. I've never read any of the Legends books. I've been saying it for probably the last year. I've only got like 20 pages into Heir of the Empire, so my knowledge of the EU is almost pretty much non-existent. But I'm going to just put him in memorable enough just because I know the name. I kind of know a little bit of the concept of him. So that's really all I can say about Darth Bane. We have Barriss Offee now. My placement for her right now is just going to be, this is, of course, obviously coming out a couple of weeks before we get that new Tales of the Empire show that's coming out. So obviously right now I don't have really an opinion about her. I only know her from the Clone Wars. But she's going to go into memorable enough. She's going to go right underneath Asajj. Now, obviously, of course, her biggest villainous stuff that she does, of course, is in, I think it's season 5 of Clone Wars, where her and Anakin have their duel because she frames Ahsoka. Obviously, too, guys, if there's like something I'm kind of forgetting or if I'm saying something wrong, by all means, let me know. It's been quite a while since I've watched Clone Wars. I've just recently restarted it. So, but I'm only like 5 episodes in. I think I'm on the episode with the clones up on the moon base. So we'll see how she is after I see Tales of the Empire. Who knows? She might move up to great. I don't think she's ever going to go into greatest of all time. I mean, that's just, yeah, that's just that. Oh man, I can't remember what his name is anymore. But the mentor to Han Solo. Is it something Beckett? I think's his name. I'll be honest, he's going to go into forgettable. One of the played by a great actor, Woody Harrelson. I think he does a great job of acting as the character, but I couldn't really tell you much else about the guy except that he's kind of the mentor, I guess we could say, of Han Solo. Yeah, again, that's really about all I can say about him. Oh. Can't remember his name either now. Jesus. So, Bib Fortuna. Wow. Jesus. He's gonna go at the bottom of memorable enough. Now, he's not a. I don't really even consider him to be a villain. You only see him in a little bit of Return of the Jedi, and you only get to see him for a smidge in the ending of season 2 of The Mandalorian when they do the build up for the Book of Boba Fett show. So, just for those 2 moments, that's really the only memorable enough part for him. Boba Fett. I know most people would probably put him greatest of all time and great. I'm sorry. I'm going to continuously say it. If you guys are new, I think Boba Fett is one of the most overrated characters in all of Star Wars. So he's just going to go to the top of memorable enough. If they would have stuck with what they did with him in Mando season 2, I will be honest, I probably would put him up in great. But after what they do with him in the Book of Boba Fett, I wasn't overly impressed with the representation of the character. Because especially when you get him returning in the Siege, no, not the Siege, what is it called now? The Tragedy episode, so episode 6 of season 2. If that was the Boba Fett we would have gotten for however long they decided to keep the character around, honestly, like I said, he probably would be in great, even though he's not very utilized much in the original trilogy, in my personal opinion. And I know he's got some pretty good stuff in the Legends material, but again, don't know anything about Legends, haven't watched or read anything about it, so Boba Fett, just going to stick here at the top of memorable enough. Now we have Bossk. And I'm a little more familiar with him with oh man, what's it called now? Wow, Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. That's really the only knowledge I have of him. So unfortunately, he's going to go into forgettable. He's going to go right underneath Beckett, right above Aura Singh. So again, nothing much to say. The only real thing I know about him is he is the rival to Chewbacca. Don't ever get to see him. We only get to see him in, like I said, a little bit of Clone Wars, and you get to see him for a brief second in, I almost said Return of the Jedi, and then I almost said Revenge of the Sith. Empire Strikes Back. There we go. Cad Bane. No need to beat around the bush for this, guys. He's going to go up into great. I know character-wise, I put him in, I think it was like Padawan or something when I did my ranking of the characters, but I do think he is a great enough villain. I like the fact that, this is a guy who can not only stand toe-to-toe with a Jedi, but he can also kill them. Obviously, things we've seen from him in lots of other shows. Obviously, seeing him in Book of Boba Fett was just cool to see him. And I like how he's only sprinkled in parts right now of the Bad Batch, but I do still think he is a good villain. Again, he's a guy who can go toe-to-toe with a Jedi. He had a minor little lightsaber duel between him and Obi-Wan while Quinlan Voss is chasing him as well. So that hurt. I'm assuming you must be in the Boba Fett one. Again, man, they would have stuck with how he was in Mando Season 2. He'd be up a lot better. Boba literally was a menace since Phantom Menace. Debatable. Just saying. They did Bane dirty. Yeah, the only other thing I know about him is he's voiced by Mark Hamill in the show, so that's literally all I know. There's a reason I made this one here. Who? Don't know who he is. Obviously, again, you guys can let me know in the chat. If I remember, I'll put him up maybe somewhere, but for now, I'm putting him in who. Because, again, I don't know who he is. Oh, we have Commander Cody. This is one I really don't know where. Oh, he was Padre's ex-lover. You must be Padme. Oh, that guy. That guy. Oh, okay. Well, again, I'm gonna keep him in who because I only vaguely remember that episode. But Commander Cody, this one's going to be tough because obviously, you see him in the Clone Wars show really fleshed out, and you do get to see him in the Bad Batch. So I will put him in memorable enough just as a villain. And he's only going to go right underneath Boba. 2 clones right now are in the lead. I do agree, Brandon. Cody shouldn't be a villain. It makes no sense. You only get to see him really be a villain in that one scene in Revenge of the Sith. So as of now, that is where Cody's going to go, is right underneath Boba Fett. Now we've got Dengar. And Dengar is going to go right underneath Bosk. Just because, again, he's another character you only get to see for a glimpse in Empire Strikes Back. Again, I only know him from the first Battlefront game playing as him. So, unfortunately, that's about as much as you're going to get from me out of that. We got Jason from Backtrack Cinema. Hey there, how you doing, man? I'm excited. I can't wait for you and I to have our little discussions about the Dark Knight trilogy and the Apes trilogy. I do lean pretty heavily with one of them, but that's just me. Obviously, we'll talk about that more, though, when we get to it. All right. Count Dooku. Top of great. As an overall character, if you just watch, like, the movies, if you're someone who hasn't gotten into actually, watching Clone Wars and getting more stuff, and even watching Tales too, that's another thing that propelled him up to here. He just isn't the greatest of all time just because, I don't know, I feel like we need more of a backstory. We need more of, like, in between. Even though I'm glad Tales does push it more that way, but I'd like to see the earlier years of Count Dooku as a villain, but he does have some of the most memorable moments in the prequel trilogy, obviously dueling against Anakin as well as dueling against Yoda in Attack of the Clones. So, but as an overall villain, especially for the prequels, I would definitely say he's one of the better villains. Count Dooku is great. We got the film kid here. Hey, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? And then Brandon, it's hard because he was the only one that could fight Palpatine. Yeah. This thing guy. Who? No idea who that is. I don't remember him at all. I don't know if he's from Clone Wars. Maybe he's even from the Bad Batch. He's kind of looks like newer animation. Oh, Paul Bettany's villain from Solo. What's another one? Unfortunately, man, he's also got to go into forgettable. I mean, obviously, I don't remember his name. I know he doesn't have a whole lot to do in Solo. You only get to see, yeah, I'm taking a guess, maybe 5 minutes worth of him. But he does have a pretty decent little fight with Kira towards the end of the episode, the end of the film. So, yeah, that's all I got for him. I want to keep saying Quinlan Voss, but I know that's not right because Quinlan Voss is a Jedi. Oh man, we have Marok. I always thought it was Merrick. Apparently, it's pronounced Marok. Man, he's gonna have to go into the top for me of memorable enough. Man, you guys have no idea how insanely excited I was watching him in Ahsoka, watching him in those first 3 episodes with his lightsaber skills and how he was, and how mysterious he was. And then when you get to episode 4 and you just find out he's nothing but green mist, I could not tell you how just utterly disappointed I was seeing that. Man, because he has 2 phenomenal lightsaber duels against Ahsoka. And then again, he's just missed. Like he's basically teetering on what Rey is in Last Jedi. Like she's a nobody. Like he's nothing. He's literally is nothing. But I gotta put him in memorable enough at least just because he does have 2 really good lightsaber duels. And we're also going to be getting him too in the Tales of the Empire show too. So maybe they'll kind of explore him a little bit. Maybe we'll get to see a real version of the character. Marok was the worst disappointment of all of Star Wars. I wouldn't go as far as that. Definitely of Ahsoka. I would definitely say he was the biggest disappointment for me of the Ahsoka show. Yeah, another character. Yeah, I don't really know who he is. So again, getting going to the Who section. Again, man, like I just need to go back and I need to just get farther in Clone Wars because like I'm just so rusty on my Clone Wars stuff. It's bad. The 5th brother. He is going to go in memorable enough, and he's going to go right above Darth Bane. I do know that we see a lot of him in Rebels, and we do get to see a different version of him in the Kenobi show, played by, can't remember what his name is, but he's the guy who plays Han in the Fast and Furious franchise. So couple of decent lightsaber duels. Again, one of the big things, if you guys know me, I loved Rebels. Honestly, it teeters back and forth between that and Clone Wars was my favorite animated show. But man, when any of the Inquisitors use their lightsabers as helicopters, it takes me out. So oh, one of the Vizslas. I can't remember which Vizsla this is, but I know this is the guy who has the lightsaber duel against Darth Maul in Clone Wars. The guy who gets killed during that duel gets decapitated from Maul with the dark saber. So he's also going to go into memorable enough. He's just going to go right above the fifth brother. And it's really only from that like little arc we got in the pre-Vizsla. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate that. I knew it was one of the Vizslas. I wanted to say Paz, but obviously Paz is in the Mandalorian. So, but yeah, I put him here just because he has a good lightsaber duel. He's one of the Vizsla clan. So we have some Trandoshan. Who? Again, sorry guys if I was kind of like worried like having these like 60 something characters in here that I was gonna be like this is gonna take a while, but like some of them, again, I just don't remember them, so I'm gonna like kind of go through them decently quick. But obviously, if it's a villain I do know, I will talk more about them. Like right now, the Grand Inquisitor. And I would say as a villain in Rebels, I honestly would probably put him at the bottom of great. I do think he is a pretty good villain. We don't get a lot of him in Kenobi. He's kind of just a disappointment in Kenobi. So, and I'll be honest, just with him in Kenobi, and honestly with even how fast he got killed, I'm going to put him in memorable enough right above Marok. I'm going to see how he is in Heir of the Empire, Tales of the Empire. I'm going to see how he is in there. Obviously, I think he'll be more of like a Palpatine, kind of like mentoring Barriss. So, and yes, rest in power, Paz. Man, that guy, man, he was the way he was killed. Oh, it broke my heart to watch that. Greedo. Greedo's going to go into memorable enough, only right above Bib Fortuna, only because of the scene he is in A New Hope. Otherwise, I don't know nothing else about him. Again, my only other knowledge of him is playing him in Star Wars Battlefront. So, oh my man, General Grievous, the guy who I was so excited to see in Revenge of the Sith as a kid. Because growing up, I watched the Micro series, and if you guys watch the Micro series, obviously you guys know exactly how he is in that show. And then you see him in here, still thought he was pretty good. And then I see him in the Clone Wars show, and he's just a coward. He just runs all the time, which I don't like. But I'm going to put him in memorable enough, just right above Commander Cody, because he does have some good lightsaber duels in Clone Wars. And if I'm including the Clone Wars micro series, that whole episode with him in it was phenomenal. But again, man, it's just, I don't like seeing him be a coward. I'd rather just be a ruthless general. And another character we're going to see in Tales of the Empire. So we're going to see how that one goes as well. Hondo Manaka. This is a guy I personally wouldn't consider to be a villain. I would just consider him to more be a guy who's just doing what he needs to do in order to get by in the galaxy. But I would say he's memorable enough. But again, as a villain, I'm sorry, I got to put him underneath Bib Fortuna. Bib Fortuna seems a little bit more of a villain than Hondo Manaka does. That's all I got to say about him. Oh boy, General Hux. Unfortunately, good sir, you are going to go above Greedo because you're just memorable enough. Man, I will still say, when I saw him in The Force Awakens, I didn't mind him. I actually liked him in The Force Awakens, but man, what they do with him in The Last Jedi and with what they do with him in The Rise of Skywalker, man, this guy is just turns into such a joke. So yeah, if it would be based more on the first movie, I'd probably put him higher on this part of the list, but I unfortunately can't do that. IG-11. You were going to go, unfortunately, underneath Dengar in the Forgettable. Again, only thing you know about him is he's a bounty hunter, and you see him in The Empire Strikes Back. You don't get a lot of backstory. Man, if this was a IG-11, that'd be cool, but IG-88, unfortunately. I think I said 11. Sorry, IG-88 is what this is. That's what I said. Jabba the Hutt. I'm sorry to have to do this to a lot of you guys, but man, I'm going to have to put him in memorable enough right underneath General Grievous. Just because, you know, at least the remastered version that I watched, you see a terrible CGI version of him in A New Hope. Of course, he's got the whole first, 30 minutes to everything that happens on Jabba's barge and all that. And he does have some roles in Clone Wars here and there. But man, he's just only memorable enough mostly because of Return of the Jedi. That's where I remember most of the Jabba moments from. Jango Fett. Sorry to have to do this to all you guys as well, but he is going to go right above Boba for me. He could climb a little bit more, but I mostly put him here because, one, he's one of the best parts of Attack of the Clones. It's my least favorite Star Wars film. I do still think it's solid, but I mostly put him here because the reason he's more memorable, obviously, is because he is the genetic material for all the clones. And the fact, too, he's kind of like Jesus. I don't know why I'm spacing out. Wow. Cad Bane. He's like him. He can go toe-to-toe with a Jedi. He goes toe-to-toe with Obi-Wan. And just to me, man, he's just a much better character than Boba. Again, if they would have kept Boba the way he was in Mando Season 2, he'd be higher than his dad, but I'm sorry. I like his dad more than I like him as a character. Yes, Sub Monkey here. Jabba the Hutt is all right. Yeah, that's why I put him in memorable enough. Also, I love Jango Fett. He's awesome. Nothing against your rankings. Appreciate that. We got the Droid General from Clone Wars. For me, since I'm not really drawing much towards him, so I'll put him at the top of Forgettable. Yeah, that's all I really got. So, my bad. Oh, we got Agent Callus, a guy who I actually came around to a lot going throughout the course of Rebels. He's going to go into memorable enough, but he's going to go underneath Barriss Offee. He kind of has one of the stereotypical things we've seen a lot of in Star Wars lately, with like somebody from the Empire really realizing what they're going through, what they're doing to everybody, and he ultimately ends up leaving, joining the rebellion, becomes a little bit better of a character. And he's a character I'd like to see come to live action. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing him in the next season of Ahsoka, or come into the Heir of the Empire movie, just to kind of see what he's been up to since the events of Rebels. He looks familiar. I don't know who he is, but this Imperial officer from Rebels. If you guys can let me know in the chat, please do. But I'm just going to put him at the top of forgettable right now, just because, again, I can't really remember very much about him. Although these next couple, we're going to be plenty fine on. I know all of these guys. So we've got director Orson Krennic from Rogue One. And I'll be honest, he's my like second favorite character in Rogue One. Chirrut Imwe, right now, he has stolen my heart in that film. But I can only put him at memorable enough, and he'll go right above Boba Fett. Obviously, he leads to the creation of the Death Star. Obviously, he is pretty much the main villain in all of Rogue One. Geez, sorry. He's got some pretty decent moments in there. I mean, we get an entire scene with him talking to Darth Vader on Mustafar, which is awesome. It's just, I wish he did more than just stand around, get mad, occasionally shoot somebody. Like, I wanted to see him, like, in action. So maybe seeing him in Bad Batch, if they decide to bring him back in Bad Batch. I know he was only there for, I think, like a minute couple of seconds in the show, but hope we get more out of this guy. I hope we either get his own show or something. Kylo Ren. I will be honest, this guy is my third favorite Star Wars character of all time. But I can't put him in greatest of all time. I will put him personally at the top of the great. Kylo Ren is hands down the best thing that came out of the sequel trilogy. I just think that he is a phenomenal villain, a phenomenal character all around, just the way he's written and everything he goes through. Obviously, the first film, he's very mysterious. We get to find out slowly throughout the film that he's Han and Leia's son. Kills Han Solo. The next film, we see so many memorable moments with him. Like, man, The Last Jedi, hands down, is Kylo Ren's film. We get that awesome throne room scene. We see him kill Snoke. We see him try to sway Rey to join him. We get to see all the stuff he does on Crate with Luke. Obviously, some great action throughout and some good chemistry with him and Daisy Ridley as well. It's just, as a villain in The Rise of Skywalker, he doesn't really seem villainous enough to me. You get a couple of sequences in the film where he seems like a villain, but honestly, if he would have just stayed like the villain of the entire trilogy, I'll be honest, I would probably consider putting him here. I wish they didn't kill off Orson Krennic. He would have been an awesome character, and if he sided with Thrawn or have his own army in Ahsoka, then he wouldn't have been an awesome character, just saying. Yeah, like I said, man, there's lots of characters in Star Wars that I don't I don't think get enough going for them. Hence bounty hunters. Like I'm somebody that's what I want to see more of in Star Wars. Like I want to see like a bounty hunter show. Like that's something I've been clamoring for years. Like when I did a top 10 Star Wars films I wanted to watch, like the main one I wanted to see was Bounty Hunters. Or not the main one. That was like my number 10, I think it was. And like I still want to see a show that has like Bosk, Dengar, IG-88, Boba, all them guys searching for the Millennium Falcon during the events of Empire Strikes Back. I just think that'd be a crazy cool show, and it would add more to my favorite Star Wars movie. Lando Calrissian. Now, kind of like what Brandon said, like with Commander Cody, I wouldn't consider Lando to be a villain. So, regardless, he's gonna have to go here into memorable enough, but I'm gonna put him like down here with like Hondo, just because I don't know. I don't consider him to be a villain in Episode 5. Darth Maul, you get the luxury, good sir, to be the first one to go into greatest of all time. What they do with this character, fleshing him out as well as they do throughout the Clone Wars show, man, this is a character that he was literally the best part of the Phantom Menace. And you know, you just get that quick kill of him, and obviously everybody's like, what now? We don't get to see him anymore. But man, with what they do with him in Clone Wars and Rebels, he's just a great villain. He's a phenomenal character. He's moved his way up into my top 10 favorite Star Wars characters of all time. I want there to be something, whether it be a comic series, a book series, whether he gets his own show again, I don't know. There are such huge gaps of Darth Maul's story we don't know yet, so I'm hoping we get to see more of this character soon. Oh man, a show about bounty hunters sounds so good. I would love to see it. See the crime syndicates all around the galaxy and cartels as well. And Darth Maul, yeah, man, Darth Maul, one of the best written characters in Star Wars, man. Yeah, this person, who, same thing with this person. Gonna go into who as well. I have no idea who these characters are. Again, you guys can definitely let me know any of the characters who are down here in the who section, just because I don't know who they are, obviously. Oh, I can't remember her name, but the cloning lead cloner throughout the Bad Batch. Honestly, she's just gonna go at the bottom of memorable enough. I wouldn't consider her to be a villain. She's just, you know, doing what she needs to get by. That's really about all. That's all the Kaminoans really ever do. Ooh, the ninth sister from Jedi Fallen Order. This character is going to go into memorable enough. Obviously, it's the popular place of where to put most of these villains at, but I'm going to put her right between Barriss and I almost said Shin. I wanted to say Shin. That's not Shin. That's Saj. Now, I have yet to play Jedi Survivor, so please no spoilers. If anybody here has played Survivor, I don't want any spoilers. I know that she's a boss in the game, but Man, with what they do with her in Fallen Order, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought she's a decent villain. She has one of the tougher boss fights, at least for me when I was playing the game. And I know that she also gets her hand cut off as well by Darth Vader in one of the Vader comics. So, I mean, that's about all I know about the villain, but I just know she's physically one of the more intimidating the villains. Oh, good old Newt Gunray from the Phantom Menace. You are going to go right above General Hux, just because he's got a presence throughout all three films. I mean, he's one of the more annoying villains in Star Wars. Definitely not one of the best by any means, but at least you get to see him in each of the prequel films, and obviously he's just one of the leaders of the Trade Federation. Yeah, this thing, another one going into who? Palpatine. I'm putting you right underneath Darth Maul. I'm sorry, but man, to me, Darth Maul, I think, is just a better villain. But Palpatine, man, hands down, one of the best villains in Star Wars. I mean, the fact you get to see his plan throughout at least the original saga films, so 1 through 6, I you just see him, play those chess pieces. And obviously, the best Palpatine, personally to me, still hands down, is from Revenge of the Sith. I don't really think many people are going to absolutely disagree with me, but man, it just kind of sucks to understand his return in Rise of Skywalker. You would have had to have been playing Fortnite because they actually play his recording or whatever. And same thing too with trying to also understand his return. You have to read the Rise of Skywalker book to find out that he's just a clone. But beyond that, man, again, Palpatine, man, he's a good chess player. He knows how to set his pieces so they fall the right way they need to. That's a villain that's going to be hard to top if you ever decide to want to do a big, big bad villain, which they're trying to do with this guy over here. Obviously, we'll get to him when we get to him, but yeah, those are my thoughts on Palpatine. Captain Phasma, man, one of the most wasted characters in the sequel trilogy. A character I was so interested in seeing her backstory and stuff, and seeing what she was going to do. This is a character that is going to go into memorable enough for sure, but you're going to go right underneath Hux. When they just shove her in a trash compactor in The Force Awakens, I was like, seriously? And then The Last Jedi, she just gets killed off right then and there. Like, this is a character I would have loved to have seen have a good rivalry going on with Finn, while Rey's having her rivalry, of course, with Kylo. I just thought it would have been a good dynamic to have, but man, one of just the most wasted characters in all of Star Wars. Oh, I believe his name is Captain Nita, I believe. He is in, I think he's in the last 2 films of the original trilogy. This is a hard one. I would probably put him above Darth Bane, just because, that's really all I know him from are Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. Obviously, he does have some memorable-ish moments, I guess we can kind of say, but the Geonosian leader guard guy thing. Yeah, I'm gonna put you down here just because he does not do much. Oh, Admiral Pike. Thank you. I thought that was Captain Nita. I don't know who Captain Nita is then, but I know that's a character in the original trilogy. And then, oh yeah, Palpatine, let's go. And during episode 3, you see the birth of the Empire. You actually get to see the birth of the Empire a little bit sooner, and that's at the end of Attack of the Clones. I guess that's just how I look at it. But okay, so Admiral Pike, sorry. But anyway, yeah, this Geonosian leader, yeah, he doesn't do much, so he's just a Geonosian. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't the guy who faces Darth Maul. It's this guy. This is the guy, I think, who faces Darth Maul. So why can't I remember him? Oh, he's like the leader of the Death Watch, I think it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think he's the leader of the Death Watch. Okay. Things are kind of starting to work a little bit more in my head now. More and more I started thinking about it. If that's the case, then we're gonna swap these two around. Sorry. Jedi Master Prong Quell? Prong Kel? No, I think that's how you say his name. Pong Krell. I don't know. It sounds right. I don't know. For me, memorable enough, and I will put him. Oh, geez, I don't know. I feel like if I put him too low, people are going to get mad, but if I put him too high, people are going to get mad. So, I think I will put him right above Callus. I don't really know how else really to word this guy, in all honesty. Again, he's just a Jedi who turns on all the clones. The other Vizsla guy, I don't know what his name is, but him I'm going to put right above, what was it, pre-Vizsla? Somebody said here in the comments. Yeah, pre-Vizsla. Anybody knows his name, write it down in the comments, please, because I don't know. But this is the guy I was basically saying who this guy was. But this is the guy who faces Darth Maul with the Darksaber, ends up getting killed later on. So you can ignore all of that. I know this guy just being like a leader of Death Watch, working with Darth Maul. Oh, and I can't remember her name, but I know she's a huge villain in the last 2 seasons of Rebels. Man, I remember hating her so much, but she worked as a villain, so I'm going to put her. She's going to go up here a ways. She's going to go right above Jabba the Hutt, just because there are so many things going on with this character. She has a working relationship with Thrawn, kind of like his right hand in a sense. She does have some good moments. She's one of the reasons why Kanan Jarrus dies. So I have to give her that. She's at least responsible for the death of a Jedi. Kira, as a villain, I'm sorry, she's going to have to go down here. She's only memorable enough for being the first love interest of Han Solo and played by Emilia Clarke. Otherwise, as an actual villain, eh, not, no. An astromech, I don't know. Put him down here. Same thing too with this. I don't know. Shark thing. Put him down here too. Sorry. Again, guys, I know this probably isn't going to be the most exciting tier ranking I've ever done, but again, I'm not familiar with some of these characters. And I'm bad with some of these names, especially only after watching like Clone Wars through once and Rebels through once. I don't remember a lot of the villains. Like this guy, I know he is a huge part of Rebels too. This guy is going to go into memorable enough, but I'm going to put him above Prom Krell just because I'm a little more familiar with him since, again, I just got done watching Rebels like literally like a couple of days before Ahsoka dropped. So I just remember him being very hard to fight against, and a lot of the times some guys had a lot of problems. You know, this guy, again, put him down here. Savage Opress. He's going to join the top of the ranks of memorable enough just because he's Darth Maul's brothers. He's one of the reasons why Darth Maul came back. And not only that, but he is a pretty intimidating villain, I would say. I just wish he would have stuck around longer, not just a little while, but he also does have a good lightsaber duel alongside Darth Maul against the Emperor, where he does unfortunately die. Again, I mean, I just wish we had a little bit more of him. Sebulba, man, memorable enough, but I really wouldn't consider him to be like a villain. So on a lower scale, I'm gonna have to only put him barely above Kira, just because, again, he's just more the rival of Anakin in Episode 1 in terms of the pod race and all that. So I'm so bad with all these Inquisitors. Like, I know he's the fifth brother, and I know about her being the ninth sister. Her, I can't remember. I think she's like the seventh sister or something like that. But she does have some pretty good lightsaber duels in Rebels. Obviously, of course, she faces off against a couple of Jedi. So she is going to go into memorable enough. I'm going to put her probably right above Barriss. Just because, again, I'm a little bit more familiar with Rebels now than I am anything else. So, a clone. I don't know which clone, but I mean, it's a villain clone, so I'm just going to put him at the top of forgettable just because all the clones turn into villains later on, except for the Bad Batch and a couple of the other ones that we're seeing throughout the Bad Batch show. So, Supreme Leader Snoke, one of the other huge disappointments of the sequel trilogy for me, man. They built this guy up to be like the most menacing villain. I've even seen stuff where they were talking about Snoke, and he was supposed to be stronger than both Vader and Palpatine combined. Like, this guy was supposed to be this like crazy, intimidating villain. And he ended up not really doing a lot in the franchise, which is depressing because, man, I was really looking forward to Snoke, especially being played by Andy Serkis. I love Andy Serkis. So Snoke, unfortunately, you're going to go under Barris. Only because, again, if he would have had some stuff to do in the first couple of films, man, he would have like been like a quick little mystery villain, like his essence leaves and like enters Kylo, and Kylo is possessed by the spirit of Snoke. Like he's just that powerful. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's just so much wasted opportunity with the sequel villains, except for Kylo. Again, I'm still gonna say it. Kylo, I think they did very well. Okay, we have the lead Night Sister, whose name I cannot remember at the top of my head. She's going to go at the top of memorable enough. Mother Talzin. There we go. I remembered her name now. Everything she does in Clone Wars, man, like it's great. It would have even been cool too if like the blade that Morgan Elsbeth had in Ahsoka, if it had like the soul of Mother Talzin and she like became possessed. I just think bringing her back would be cool. Maybe they're gonna do it in this Heir to the Empire movie, obviously with the ending that we got in Ahsoka. There's so much amazing, wonderful potential we could do here. So I don't know. I feel like maybe we might see Mother Talzin come back. And honestly, too, man, throwing this pitch out here, I want to see a horror-themed Star Wars film, and it needs to take place on Dathomir with the Night Sisters. Just gonna throw that out there for you guys. Grand Moff Tarkin. It almost kind of looks like he has a mustache in this picture. He's gonna go to the bottom of great. What they do with him in the little bit we see of him in Rebels, with what we see of him in Bad Batch, Rogue One, and A New Hope, I just think he's one of the best Imperial villains that we have gotten. Of course, he's played by the late, great Peter Cushing. I do kind of wish we could have gotten more of him actually being a menace, but he's more of the other right hand. He's more like the left hand, I guess we could say, of Palpatine. But man, this guy just there's just so much more they can do with this character. I know he's got a book. I also know that there is a comic. My buddy Andy's always talking about it, where Tarkin and a bunch of Imperials are hunting Vader on this planet. I need to read it, but man, how can you not put Tarkin up here? Now we have the Sun. I don't remember a whole lot about him. I know that's like obviously one of the Mortis gods, clearly, but I'm going to put him in memorable enough, but I'm going to put him right below Savage, just because the only thing I remember about him is he possesses or swades Anakin to go to the dark side for a little bit during the Mortis God arc. But I don't know. With him and even just the Mortis gods in general, I feel like we're going to get them back in the second season of Ahsoka. Because I know there's like a theory I even threw out too, like, I think while we were actually talking about Ahsoka, is I feel like Anakin, Ahsoka, and Balin are going to be like the new gods of the Force, like the Mortis gods. So, like, Anakin might be the son, Balin might be the father, and Ahsoka might be the daughter. Because of course, too, when we see the Mortis god statues at the end of Ahsoka, where Balin's standing, we see that the father and the son ones are still standing, but the daughter one is destroyed. Because I know Ahsoka has like the soul or the spirit of the daughter. So I don't know. I feel like we're going to get the Mortis gods back in some way, shape, or form with the next season of Ahsoka. Snoke would have been cool. Yeah, yeah. Again, man, just like with Hux and just like with Phasma, just wasted. Tarkin is a good villain. That'd be crazy if Tarkin was alive in Ahsoka. He would have been an awesome villain as well as taking over the galaxy for Palpatine. If he wasn't on the Death Star, could have probably have seen it. The sun is destroyed as well. Man, I gotta go back and rewatch it. Man, I gotta go back and rewatch Ahsoka. This sucks. Just kidding. Whew. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Okay, so I have to be slightly biased here because, again, I've said it like 3 or 4 times already. I have not read, I've not gotten very far in Heir of the Empire. I know there are like 6 books with Thrawn in it. I also have the other 6 currently canon Thrawn books, and I know there's also a comic series for Thrawn. But unfortunately, I have to go based on what I have seen of him in both Rebels and in Ahsoka. I will put Thrawn as of now. Again, gotta see what he does in Heir to the Empire, and when I finally get around to reading all the books, which I wouldn't hold your guys' breath because I don't know. I can't read books anymore, it seems like. So maybe I'll just listen to some audiobooks. I don't know. I will put him in great as of now, but he's gonna go at the bottom. As right now, I think Tarkin is a better villain. Just for now. So just remember this part of the stream when if I ever decide to do this again or I do something with Thrawn. The introduction of Thrawn in Rebels I thought was good. I also got to give Thrawn a lot of props that there's a ship flying at him and he's just shooting at it with a blaster pistol. Not only that, but he kills a literal god. He kills the Bendu god. And he's obviously got himself a really sinister and unique plan in Ahsoka. So clearly we're going to be seeing him resurrect some kind of an army. So again, he definitely has potential to go up. Because they're basically, I'm pretty sure he's basically going to be the Thanos as of now of the new Star Wars stuff. So I don't know. Again, once I read the original Thrawn trilogy and I read all the new Thrawn books and everything, I'll probably have a lot better of an appreciation for the character. But as of now, he's going to go at the bottom of grade. I still think it's a good placement for him. I really do. But the spider guy from Clone Wars. I'm going to put him at the bottom. Actually, no. I'm going to put him in forgettable. I'm just going to put him underneath the clone. I really only remember him from season 7 because that's like the freshest thing on my mind when it comes to Clone Wars. And I know Anakin kills him, but that's about as much as I remember. Okay, this is the second sister. So yeah, this must be the 7th sister. Trilla, that's her name. She's the main villain in Jedi Fallen Order. Man, I loved this villain so much. I thought she was great. So I have to put her in great, and I'm going to put her right above Tarkin. Man, what they do with this character is awesome. Of course, towards the end, we get another, redemptive arc for another character in Star Wars. But I do think she was a great villain. Like, slowly throughout the story, when we first introduced her, she's just killing people. Also, as well, we get to face her a couple of different times throughout the game. She kind of slowly starts to open up and talk about how she uh, was Ser Junda's apprentice, how she left her, then she, of course, became an Inquisitor. And man, at the end, when she has that moment with Darth Vader, when you don't even know he's there, but you hear her being choked by the Force, you hear Vader, and she gets killed by him. It was a phenomenal moment. But man, this is a character I would have loved to have seen go to another game. Man, she could have been one of the best. As of right now, she is my favorite Inquisitor in Star Wars. Darth Vader, no question, greatest of all time, hands down. Best villain, best character overall in Star Wars. Personally, obviously, with the background of Anakin, I mean, it's Darth Vader. Do I need to say anything about this? Personally, I don't think so. I mean, again, it's Darth Vader. I mean, I think this is a pretty respectful top 3. I mean, you could probably swap these around as much as you want to, but again, it's Darth Vader. Thrawn, he would always be cruel to me. Oh, also, Thrawn and Vader both agreed with each other that they would rather have Star Destroyers than Death Star, because both of them said it would fail someday. They were right. Yes, they were. The Ninth Sister. Is it the Ninth Sister? No, it's the second sister. I have the pop back here, that's why. But anyway, yeah, Trilla. Her story was dark, and yeah, man, that ending with her was sad. And yeah, Vader. Again, it's Vader. I don't need to go into details about Vader. This guy from Attack of the Clones, yeah, you're gonna go down here. The only thing I slightly remember about this guy is his couple of little lines he has. And you're good, Sub Monkey. All good, man. At least I knew what you were getting at. I knew what you were talking about after you wrote Trilla down. All right, guys, we are here at the final 2. We are here with Watto and Zira, one or the other. Watto, he's going to go into memorable enough, and I will put him just above Lando. I really wouldn't even consider him to be a villain either, if I'm being totally honest. And Zero, I'm pretty sure it's Zero the Hutt. Zero, I don't know. Either way, regardless. And again, I'll be honest, man. I just even recently watched the Clone Wars movie, just because, again, I wanted to get back into watching Clone Wars. I'm just going to put him in forgettable, but I'm going to put him at the top just because I kind of remember his name, but I don't remember anything else about him, except that he's Jabba's cousin or something like that. So, but yeah, guys, as of now, this is my tier ranking for all of the villains in Star Wars that I had. Obviously, I know there's still a handful on here that, weren't involved. Like, they didn't have Shin in here. We didn't have Balin. We didn't have any of the villains from, like, The Mandalorian and stuff like that in here, so. But again, also, anybody who is in the Who section, you guys can let me know in the comments, and I will maybe take into consideration to move these around. But as of now, this is my official tier ranking for all the villains in Star Wars that are on this list. I mean, again, the greatest of all time. I already knew that these were going to be up there. The greats, I think that's a pretty good lineup for the greats. Again, the Who's, don't know who they are. The Forgettables, and all the ones that are here in the middle for memorable enough. So, thank you guys for joining me for another tier ranking Tuesday. Obviously, let me know down below in the comments section what your guys' official tier ranking is of all of these villains in Star Wars. Also, if you guys do want to make your own video of these, definitely do it. Put it down in the comment section below. I will go and I will watch it just because I want to see everybody else's take on this. So, because I've enjoyed doing these tier rankings, man, because I have so many opinions on so many things in Star Wars that I love sharing them with you guys, even if they are unpopular. So, but yeah, guys, that's going to do it for another edition of the Tier Ranking Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, make sure you guys go down below in the comment section. Also, if you guys are new here, please consider clicking that subscribe button, as I will be hopefully doing these every other Tuesday. Also, if you guys just like Star Wars and horror content, this is the channel for you guys. So definitely consider clicking that subscribe button. So with that being said, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.